Hi sewists and aspiring sewists, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Doyen, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be teaching you how to make this beautiful crop jersey top. So if this looks like what you're interested in, let's dive into the main video. For this tutorial we're going to be making use of these basic materials here. We're going to be making use of this black and white cotton weave, which also serves as a band. We're going to be making use of this for our neckline band. Also, we're going to be making use of this pom-pom fabric. This is also a jersey fabric, and I'm going to be making use of one trouser for this tutorial. Please, if you're getting yours, please make sure that what you're getting is thicker than what I'm actually using for this tutorial, because I didn't like the turnout of what I used. I didn't like how the material was so soft. Now this is the print we're going to be using for this tutorial. This tutorial is a long due one, and so I had already printed this for a very long time, which also shows that they didn't print it properly. They didn't apply the necessary materials to it. That's why it turned out to be bad eventually. Though it's still good, it's going to stick definitely, but this is how it is, sha. Anyways, let's get right into the main reason why I'm making this video. First thing I did here was to lay my fabrics on fold, and that's because I'm working with a crop top. The length is going to be shorter, so I'm making use of length 19 inches as my crop top length. I don't want it to be too revealing, so I'm making use of 19 inches. See the way this material is just jumping up and down. That was why I said, please, if you're getting yours, make sure that what you're getting is thicker. I don't like the fact that this material is not thick, but I have a choice. I have to do like that. Next, I'm going to measure the shoulder of my top, which is 18 inches, and this includes the seam allowance. Dividing that into 2 give me 9 inches. So I'm going to mark 9 inches on this line that we have here, and this is what you can see me do right here. So from my shoulder line, I'm going to come down again by 1 inch, which would serve as my shoulder sloping line. So I'm going to connect this line towards this part of my fabric, just as you can see me illustrate right here. Once I have that done, I'm going to go ahead to cut. Next thing I'm going to measure is the length of my top. So I'm going to be making use of 19 inches, and I'm going to add 1 inch allowance to my 19 inches, which will serve as my seam allowance, and that's going to give me 20 inches. So I'm going to mark 20 inches on different points, and I'm going to form a straight line across. So once I'm done with that, the next thing I'm going to measure will be the armhole of my top. So from my shoulder line, I'm going to come down by 8.5, which is 8.5. I'm going to come down by 8.5 and form a mark, and I'm going to also go ahead to measure my chest line. So since my shoulder line is 9 inches, I'm going to make my chest line 8.5, and I'm going to mark out this point. So I'm going to merge my lines together to form a shape around my armhole. So once I have this pointed out, the next thing I'm going to measure will be the body of my top. I have 44 inches as the body measurement for my top. I'm going to divide that by 4. That's going to give me 11 inches. Adding half inch allowance, that's going to give me 11.5, which is what I'm measuring right here. So now that I have a shape of what I want, the next thing I'm going to do will be to cut out these traces. Moving on, I'm going to detach these two pieces, and I'm going to place the front bodies on the back body, just as you can see me illustrate right here. Next, I'm going to measure my neckline width. So for my neckline width, I'm going to be making use of 2.5 inches, which is what you can see me mark right here. And after that, I'm going to go by measuring my neckline depth. So I'm going to be making use of 6.5 inches for my neckline depth, since it's going to be a V-neck shape. So I'm going to go ahead to form my V-neck across this line, which is what you can see me do right here. So once I have that done, I'm going to go ahead to cut what I have right here. So on my back bodies, I'm going to maintain the same neckline width, but I'm going to come down from my neckline by 1 inch, which is what you can see me do, and I'm going to trace out my neckline curve. So once I have that done, I'm going to go ahead to cut. So for my V shape, my V neckline shape, this is what it looks like. This is how it is. Moving on, my sleeve length measurement is 11 inches. So I'm going to add 1 inch allowance to this 11 inches, and that's going to give me 12. So I'm going to proceed by marking my 12 inches on different parts of my fabric, just to form a straight line across my fabric. Next, after that, I'm going to proceed by measuring the down sleeve. My down sleeve is 14 inches here. I'm going to divide that into 2, and that's going to give me 7 inches. So I'm going to add half inch allowance to my 7 inches, and that's going to give me 7.5, which is what you can see me mark right here. Now from the top of my sleeve, I'm going to come down by 3 inches and mark out my point. Then I'm going to go ahead to measure my round sleeve, which is also my arm, which is 16 inches. Dividing that into 2 will give me 8 inches. I'm going to add half inch allowance to that, and that's going to be 8.5. So once I have that marked out, I'm going to merge my lines together, and I'm going to merge my arm point to meet the center point of my sleeve. Next, I'm going to cut out the shape of what I have here. So for my neckline band, I already cut out what I need. This is actually what I need for my neckline band. This is the actual one. I'm already gonna add to reduce this one by a little half inch. Now what I have here as my neckline band width is only about 8.5 inches, which is predicted to be standard for what I want to use it for, because I'm dealing with a stretchy fabric here. So I predicted that it is going to fit into my neckline, 8.5. First thing I did here was to eat up my customization, which is what you can see me show to you guys here. This is how it is looking like. So you can see that it actually was still able to stick to my clothes. It's not like it's bad, it's just that it was already out of the transparent cover nylon. Next, I'm going to attach my shoulder lines together. So I'm placing the front bodice of my top on the back bodice of my top, making sure that it's the right side that is facing each other, while the wrong side is what is facing me, just as you can see me illustrate right here. So I'm going to go ahead to sew on my shoulder line. I'm going to weave it on the weaving overlock machine. So this is what it looks like after joining. Now the next thing I'm going to do now will be to attach my sleeve to my armhole. So I already notched my sleeve, the center point of my sleeve, so going to be attaching it to the center point of my shoulder line, and I'm going to pin it down. After this, I'm just going to go ahead to join it together. So here is what it looks like after sewing. This material can be quite tricky, but regardless, I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side as well. So here is what it looks like. The next thing I'm going to do will be to join the sides together. So I'm going to start this from my sleeve area, and I'm going to run a straight stitch downward from my overlock machine. Now at this point, make sure that the center point of your armhole is actually aligning together. Now this material there's a way it shrinks once you sew it, so you want to be sure that you are making sure that the joints are aligning together. So the next thing I'm going to do will be to sew this, and I'm also going to repeat the same process on the other side of my top as well. After sewing, this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now will be to turn this to the right side. Then I'm going to be attaching my black and white neckline band to this. So I'm going to be doing this on my straight sewing machine, just because I don't want the blade of this particular machine to override on the neckline band. A quick one, I'm going to place my band like this, just as you can see me illustrate right here. I'm going to place it like this, and I'm going to run a stitch to seal this part together. Now this is what I'm trying to achieve. Look at it very well from the camera view. This is what I'm trying to achieve. So this is how I'm going to place it, and this is what I'm going to be weaving. So here's what it looks like. I already secured what I want to achieve. So I'm going to form the center point of this band. From this, I'm going to form a center point, and I'm going to notch that part. I'm also going to locate the center point of my neckline, just as you can see me illustrate right here. Then I'm going to mark the center point right here. So the center point of my band is going to be placed on the center point of my neckline, so we can have a balanced neckline. So I'm going to go ahead to pin this V shape on my V neck area. Then the other part where I notched, I'm also going to place it on the notch part of my round neck, but I don't really need to pin it down. While I stretch, I'm going to make it fit into that notch part. That notch part is just to create a boundary so that I don't go beyond the notch part. So I'm going to be stretching my band to fit into the notch part of my back neckline. I hope this is clear. So I'm going to be running this on my straight sewing machine. Just because I'm working with a V shape, I'm going to start my sewing from one side of my neckline band, and I'm going to stretch through to meet the other point of my neckline band. So I'm making sure that the V is fitting into the V shape of the neckline. I hope this is clear. So I'm starting from this point here, this other angle of the V. I'm starting my sewing from there, then I'm stretching my band round to meet, like to come back again to the V shape to round it off. I hope this is clear. So if you followed me to this point, you're going to locate the center point where the V shape is on your bodice, and you're going to notch that center point just to make it easy around that area. So once I turn it to the right side, this is what it is going to be looking like. This is how the shape of my V is going to be. Now, because I'm working with a very fragile fabric, it is shrinking my band, but nevertheless, let's continue with what we are here for. So this is what it looks like. This is how it is. By the time I'm done sewing, reinforcing the neckline and ironing, I believe it should be better than what it is looking like. Next thing I'm going to do here will be to weave my neckline band. Remember that what we just did was just to run a straight stitch around the neckline. So what I'm going to be doing now will be to weave around the neckline. After that, next thing I'm going to do will be to sew on my neckline. I'm going to be sewing on my neckline round, just as you can see me illustrate right here. And I'm also going to go ahead to fold my sleeve. I'm also going to go ahead to fold the downside of my top as well. So I'm going to be folding both sleeves by 1 inch, and I'm also going to be folding the downside as well by 1 inch. So guys, here's the final result of what we've been able to come up with. If you follow this video to this point, this is me saying thank you so much for your support. And if you're ready to subscribe to my YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? Please kindly subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Let me know if you'll be trying this also in the comment section. Like, comment and share my video, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye.